All right, today is Monday, October 24th, 2022. As always, here's the risk disclosure. Trading futures is risky. Know what you're doing before you do it. You can lose all your money. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? Morning, Vegas. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Getting ready for this new week. See how it goes. See what the market gives us. Let's see here. Kind of got some sideways action going. Looks like we're just above settlement. There's a little bit of chop that was happening right above settlement. Let's see. Morning, everybody. Jimmy, Lynn, Todd, Brandy, T. France, Peter. Good morning, everybody. I want to point something out real quick. Actually, 1 second here. All right, if you take a look at my 30-tick chart here, we have kind of if you look to the left, it hit this top area here, came down, hit this up here again, and then when it finally came through, it did a little elevator chop here and laid a mini magnet right at that top. So if this does come back here, it may test this mini magnet, one single mini magnet, and I'm not sure it would just break right through since that was a previous little resistance area. It might, but you know, that would be if I was going short, kind of a target. And then if it breaks it, there's not really much else between that and settlement. But I just wanted to point that out. That's just kind of something I'm noticing here. Nothing else really on the 30 tick to look for. If we can break this bottom, I would like a short here. Simplicity short. Kind of need to break this paw first. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and get in this one. See if we get a little run to that mini magnet. It's not much, but let's see if it'll go. Once it hits that mini magnet, I might tighten up. Might move to break even just because, like I said, I was just pointing out that mini magnet. But I think that's a good little target to get a little scalp here. If it hits that mini magnet and struggles there. Nice. Got you over 45. That's great. All right, now it's hitting that mini magnet. I'm going to go ahead and move to break even in case it doesn't break it. It's breaking it. Now, what I'll do is kind of tighten up here. It might knock me out because this thing might not run more. So if this gives me a nice close underneath this mini magnet, I'll put my stop behind it like now. So I'm going to lock in whatever amount that is. Yeah, see, it knocked me out. It's just because I don't trust. See, and that's why I tightened up right there, because I don't trust that mini magnet for it to keep running. That's a nice little scalp. Let me bring my simplicity up here. See, I took it as soon as it broke. It may end up running, but the problem is that mini magnet that I mentioned, and now it laid a cluster on the 30 tick at that mini magnet. But that was a decent little scalp there. Yeah, now it goes. So I could have gave it more room and just left it at break even, but I don't really do that often, because if I'm up 20, 30 ticks or more, I usually don't like to give back too much of it. If that mini magnet wasn't there, if it was a lot more clear of an area, then I would have given it more room. But that very well could have, now see, it's still going, but that very well could have rejected at that point and made its way back up. So, nice little scalp. Yeah, Richard, I saw a lot of people were having trouble with that move, but I mean, I honestly feel like there's some little steps to take, so I think the ones that had trouble may have just missed like one little step that was crucial somewhere. Yeah, see, this is a nice move down. But not sure how many ticks I grabbed on that one. Yeah. Ended up only getting about 16 ticks out of it. Like I said, I was looking at that mini magnet from before we even got there. Now we're back into that choppy area from earlier, from the 50 tick. I'll pull that over in just a second, but we might get an LRE opportunity here off where that mini magnet was, which would be at this wall up here. Might not make it up there. And that would be a significant area, what I like to look at. Now we have double clusters on the 30 tick. Let's see what it does first. But yeah, that would be a significant area for it to pull back to, that mini magnet and wall, that 30 tick mini magnet on top of the wall. Anytime you have a mini magnet on top of a wall, that's usually a pretty strong level, especially if it's a 30 tick mini magnet. Getting some nice movement. Wish I wouldn't have gotten knocked out of this one. I barely got knocked out too by a couple points. Oh yeah, this is a nice move. But that's the risk of, yeah, it's making its way back to settlement. That's the risk of how I trade though, especially simplicity. I usually keep a pretty tight stop, especially when we come up to any kind of levels or anything. And after it bounced, pull this up here. After it bounced this wall a little bit here, and it wasn't just this wall and mini magnet that I was talking about, after it bounced a little bit and didn't just break through, that's whenever I gave it room a little bit at first, and then I tightened up. I don't know how to block these spammers. Need to find out. Okay, we're moving. We're giving us getting a pullback here with some HD going. Yeah, I need to figure out. I need to find how, if there's a way to block specific, because I can take that name and put them in like a block list or something. That'd be nice. All right. Looks like all my data is correct today. Yeah, let me pull my 30 tick over. There we go. Now we might be getting a pullback here, so I'm going to get ready to look for an LRE. Currently an LRE would be up here where these clusters are to the left. I actually kind of like this because it hasn't hit settlement, so it may make its way back to settlement. Oh yeah, I added the walls. I made sure. I don't know if it comes with the walls already added on with the template, but I made sure to have the walls on there. All right, let's see if we get a LRE here. I don't like all the clusters just underneath on the 10 tick here. And we have a cluster on the 30 tick right now. So we'll see when it gets up to this wall. If it gets up to this wall, if it gives me anything. Yeah, if your 30 tick doesn't have walls, you can just go in the indicators and add the walls. Yeah, Todd, there's those clusters there on the 30 tick. We're kind of hitting the bottom and going sideways a little bit now. I mean, usually when it gets this close to settlement, it'll go down and get it. So, but I don't really love this right now. And let me pull this over real quick. My 50 tick chart, you see all the chop to the left here? Yeah, that's pretty much, we're at the bottom of that now. So let's see what we do here. Now, if this makes a newer low again, if it breaks this mini magnet on the 10 tick, it's hit this. And this is the 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth try. If it breaks that and comes down here and then pulls back, I might take an LRE at that point. But now we're in a pretty tight space. It just depends on what it gives me on the 10 tick. because it's a really tight space. We have a lot of clusters coming up. This very well could be the end of this run. Unless it just busts through settlement. It keeps running short. Yeah, I typically like... Oh, wait a second. Richard, I'm sorry. I don't have the walls on my 30-tick chart. I typically like my 30-tick chart pretty clean. See? Here we go. Let's see here. We're pulling back for an LRE. Let's see if we get something here. There's too many clusters in this zone. So if you look, an LRE would be right here where we were at this wall. And profit would be down here pretty close to this bottom of the mini magnet. But in between, look at all these clusters. There's just a sea of clusters in between that zone. So that's why I didn't take it. Because it could just, I get in, chop a little bit, and go up. So staying out of that one. Yeah, sorry. I was halfway thinking about my 30-tick chart when you were asking about that, and halfway looking at this LRE potential. So I was sorry about that, Richard. Yeah, I don't have the walls. I like it pretty clean. And then I just look at all I have on my 30-tick is just the OP, what they already have on there, and then ice and the deviation levels. Yeah, the only reason why I used to have them on my 30-tick, and I did like them on there. But when we get into those areas, sometimes we have those areas where the walls, there's just like a million of them. That's when I took them off, and I just never put them back on. Because, of course, the 30-tick is more like a zoomed out chart compared to the 10-tick. So it just, sometimes you'll get a ton of walls. I have a Lorex on the 10-tick right here. Again, I only take LREs, and then I do have one account dedicated only to simplicity. So I got that one simplicity earlier, but knocked me out early and then continued to run for what? That was a almost 30-point move. Dang, that would have been nice to stay in that one. Now we just about hit settlement. And as sideways as we've been, it may not come back and actually touch settlement. Yeah, there's so many clusters on the 10-tick. All right. Now what I'm waiting for is simplicity to either break below settlement or flip and go long. Flip to green and go long. My LREs, I typically like to take them. I typically like them to hit the solid line, unless if there is, like, let's say it's pulling back to the solid line, but there's a big level or big stack or something there just before the solid line. Then as soon as it hits that level, I'll get in, and vice versa. So if there's a stack or a wall or something behind the solid line, then even though it'll hit the solid line, it'll typically like to go and hit that area. I'll wait and not get in at the solid line until it pulls back even further to that area and then get in. But if there's nothing like that, then I just kind of wait until it gets as close as possible. Because there's been times, especially with, I use a hard stop on my LREs. So there's been times where, it pulls back to the solid line and I jump in, but then just behind it, a point or two away, there was something major and it went and got that anyways and then knocked me out and then goes and wins. So I learned to kind of wait a little bit sometimes if there's things like that around. All right, and just below settlement, we have, if you look at this dotted line on top of this wall, that's a 30 tick mini magnet on top of that wall, kind of like the one earlier. So if it breaks through settlement, then I'm sure I'd be looking at this area, 48.23, 48.25 for it to come down to. Ideally, I like price to break areas like this and then pull back to test it with an LRE. Those are my favorite trades. Wish there's a way to ban these people. There we go. Figured it out. Banned them. Yeah, we have an LRE here with some big HD. I actually like this one. Oh, it might knock me out. Yeah, too strong of a run. Now it's going to go down. It's going to push up. I liked that one because it had 600% HD, even though it came back into the choppy area. It just pushed hard. It hit that magnet and turned back into chop. I thought I'd get enough of a bounce with that HD, but just too choppy of an area. Because this is right where all those clusters were. Yeah, I had to. Why did you touch that? Yeah. Might get along here. I want to take it unless if it goes above this wall at 377. Yeah, I had to actually go into the YouTube chat because I used the streaming program to do this, but I had to go into the YouTube chat to ban that person or not get them out of there. All right, we might be going long here above this wall. If this breaks above the wall, I'm going to hop in long. Just trying. There we go. All right, see what happens on this one. See if it's ready to go or not. Yeah, for sure. Those days are gone. Those revenge trading days. All right, we're hitting this ZOI up here. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up a little bit. Just because if it doesn't break, I'm going to go ahead and move to break even. That's what I do a lot of times. I'm up 30 ticks right now. Actually, I might... Break even might be too tight on this one. So I'm going to keep it where it's supposed to be on the simplicity chart. I just don't want it to get knocked out and then break. It's pushing pretty hard. So if it breaks this COI and wall, then I'll place my stop below it. If it gives me a nice break where a bar closes above it, like now, lots of ZOIs up here. Let it push up. See, and I'm going to trail pretty tight now because I'm up a good 50 plus ticks. All these ZOIs, there we go. It knocked me out. It hit that wall up there. Oh, they found me again. How did they do that? So, knocked me out. But, hey, that's okay. I made 50 something ticks on that. Well, actually, by the time it closed, it might not have been 50. Yeah, that was a 53 ticks. Yeah, that's fine, Richard. A nice little move there. Because, see, whenever simplicity was going sideways, it couldn't break. Gave me that long above that wall, kind of where there was a top of a range area. If you look here on the 10 tick, this top wall here. As soon as it came out of that, had a nice run there. Awesome, Richard. That's great. So that one account, my simplicity account, is basically halfway to its profit target. But once I hit that halfway mark, I usually am pretty conservative at that point. I got to see something pretty nice, or I'll just let it end like that. But I definitely want to get some LREs because, like I said, my funded accounts and my live personal account, I take with my LREs only. So I definitely want something nice. If we come back to this area where we have this crash in this wall, if we can run up a nice little ways up here and then pull back to that area, I would like to take an LRE off of that. That'd be nice. Yeah, it's a process for sure. For me, the discipline side was also my problem. And of course, it didn't change overnight, and it kind of changed in phases. I started noticing, okay, I'm holding these accounts a little longer. It was at one point where I couldn't even get to a monthly renewal. I just couldn't. Then finally, I remember getting to that monthly renewal. I said, man, I made it. I finally made it. 30 days. So I kind of had to set milestones, and that's what helped me. Yeah. All right, so now we're moving up. And you see how I could have stayed in this. There was no, if I was following the simplicity rules, I would still be trailing, right? My stop would be way down lower, and I'd be trailing. But because right now, I trail pretty tight. I don't like to give much back because, this is an account just for simplicity, and I'm trying to get it funded, so I don't want to give back a lot. And even once it is funded, I'm going to do the same thing until I build up a bigger cushion. Good morning. So yeah, I want it to come back to this crash. Even though it hasn't been a pretty run up. But if we can get to this crash, should give me enough. If I get an LRE there, especially if we have something to go with it, should give me enough for an LRE. Let's see if it happens. I actually don't use an ATM on simplicity. What I do is I just hop in with the market order, and then I place a stop behind the 5 points behind the solid line where the entry bar is. And then I just trail, or whenever I get close to walls or anything, I just tighten up my stop. It's a little bit choppy up here, so I don't like that. I really like this crash and wall area, but I really don't like the chop. So let's see what happens if it pulls back here. You missed not too much, but I did get a couple simplicity runs. One knocked me out early. The second one knocked me out at about 50 ticks. And then I did lose on an LRE. So now I'm trying to get on my LRE accounts and funded accounts. I have 2 trades left in it, or 1 loser. If the next one loses, then I have to call it. Okay, let's see if we get one here. If it comes down and hits this crash, I don't like the chop above, but I just like that crash a lot. Yeah, actually having some movement today. Yeah, see, we didn't quite make it to that crash, and now we're going back up. So let's see if that was technically close enough. 91. I mean, it was within 2 points of the solid line. I know it's going to go to this crash. Spammer. All right, we'll have ODD at this crash if we can get down to it. Come on, pull back just a little bit. Potential mini magnet on the 30 tick also. Ah. What time is it? It's not 9 yet. All right. Yeah, it popped down there. I should have hopped in. Especially it's leaving a crash on the 30 tick. I should have hopped in. See, there it goes. I missed it. It popped down for a split second, and I missed it. That would have been a winner. That was a nice one, too. That was exactly where I wanted it. It just popped down too quick, and that one, it didn't stay there at all. So as soon as it popped down, it popped up, and oh well. I'll have to wait for another one. Yeah, Richard, I'll be heading out of here about 30 minutes or so. 30, 35 minutes. Man, that was a beautiful one, too. I hate when I miss good ones. I was just trying to time that one really good, and whenever it came down and hit it, it didn't hang around there at all. Not even a split second. It just popped down and popped up. I could have got in a little bit late. It paused a little bit, but with all that chop that happened above, I wanted to get in at a really good entry. So that was the first LRE in this run. Now if I take another one, or not if there is another one, it needs to run above this dynamic magnet and wall. Would be nice for it to do that. I'd prefer that to run up and then pull back down to this area to take my LRE. Now, if it hits the dev in this dynamic magnet, I'll be a little bit cautious taking the LRE. Just because sometimes it can hit that, and then you don't know if that's the turnaround area to head all the way back down. But it'll be the first hit making its way back up. So typically, if it does come back down, give an LRE, it'll come back up and test it again, even if it's the end of the run. So we'll see what happens here. Hopefully we get another one. Let's see here. If we get a pullback, it'll be there. Just about. Okay, I actually like this with this mini magnet it's trying to lay. I used the wrong account. Laid that mini magnet. Good thing I got out. Hit that wall. Might get a bounce off this wall here. Looks like it's going to break it, actually. Might come back down to that crash again. Yeah, that crash is down there. It's going to come down to that crash. Yeah, I'm glad I hopped out of that. I got... I don't know if y'all saw what happened. I got in with my simplicity count on accident instead of the other ones. So I hopped out with like 6-tick winner. And good thing I did, because this thing wants to come back down to this crash. Might get a simplicity short underneath this. If we get a short under this, if it breaks, I may take it. Because it's testing this crash. And if it breaks that crash, then that might be an area of resistance. Let's see. We have some ZOIs here, so I got to be careful. Because it could bounce around a little bit. Yep. And it's leaving a mini magnet pushing down, maybe. So if this closes at 384.25, if this comes down to 384.25, then I believe we may make another settlement run. Well, the mini mag's gone away now, so. And there's, might be coming back. So basically on its way down, a lot of times those mini magnets tell you what it wants to do. In this case, it did not go down and leave the mini magnet. So as you can see, it's pushing up. Had it left that mini magnet and pushed down, and pull over my 30-tick chart. It was trying to push down below this crash and leave a mini magnet here. If it would have done that, then that mini magnet would have told me that, hey, we do want to push down and keep going. But instead, it left a cluster on the 30-tick chart on that ZOI crash. So there was a little bit of a fight there, and the buyers won that fight. It's a pretty significant level there. Right at about 88.50, 388.50. Now we wait again. Still wish I would have missed that first LRE off that crash. That was just because that was a beautiful one, and I wanted it. That's the one I wanted. But sometimes that happens. So technically, that pullback on the 30 tick was HD. If you look here, went up, pulled up, gave some ODD, pulled back right to the bottom, 213%. Yep, the one that got away. It's also why I changed my ATM for my LREs, and I've been working with more than a 1-to-1 ratio because, you know, that first LRE lost, and if I get my next one as a winner, then I'm back in the profit. It's not just a washout. So it's been working out for me that way. Yeah, for sure. I am 100% okay with missing trades versus taking bad ones. Just like they say, like Lori says, when in doubt, stay out. Except I wasn't in doubt on that one. It moved fast. So, and this is only for pre-market on my LREs. I've been using a 15 tick stop and a 25 tick target. I went back. I've been using it for a little over a month now, probably, or all of October, actually. And I went back and looked back on all my trades and basically wanted to see if I used that ATM, if they, you know, how would they have worked? Would I have taken some losses because of the 15 ticks, or would I have missed some wins because of the 25 ticks? But the majority of them still would have won. And, you know, I did that because, like I said, now it's a greater than a 1-to-1 ratio. And if I have a losing day, I'm only losing 30 ticks, and a winning day is 50 ticks. So it helps out for sure, you know, when you have a losing day. But I'll say you have to make sure your entries are really good. Because you don't want to, you know, 15 ticks is pretty tight. And that's why I missed that last one, that one that I liked, because I was trying to time it and get it where I wanted. And because it was quick, you know, a quick pop down, I missed it. I don't know how these people keep finding me. I keep blocking them. Well, it's saying that I'm blocking them. I don't know if it's really blocking. Is that what it is? If I put slow chat? I don't know. I meant to do that over the weekend, figure that out, and I just forgot about it. Yeah, Jeremy. So when the market opens for NQ, I have a 20 tick stop and a 40 tick target. Or like Friday, the market was zipping around pre-market. I changed my ATM to that as well. Give it a little bit more of a cushion for a loss, and then a better target. All right, so we're popping up here. If this gives a long, I'm not going to jump into a simplicity long right here because we just made a top over here at about 416.25. I mean, it may run to that, But we have some clusters in here, so I kind of want it to run first. I'd actually prefer this to go short, though, to be honest. Make another settlement run. That way I can put my stop behind this crash, or give a simplicity down through the crash and come back up and test it with an LRE. That'd be nice. It's about 4 minutes after 9. So 9:05 now. So I have about 10-15 minutes left of my trading session. So let's see if anything happens from now till then. Actually, wasn't a bad day though. A couple good simplicity runs. I took that one loss on the LRE, and to be honest, it wasn't the best one. And then missed the great one. So, wasn't bad. Some good movement today.
Potential set of A on NQ. Potential TX on NQ.
Might happen.
Double cluster NQ.
This might be an early entry. Yep, there's an early entry there. See if we get a run down to this ZOI down here. That's where I'd be looking for it for a target. And once it gets to that, if it does, I'd probably tighten up. Don't see any reason why this doesn't go, but we just never know for sure.
Trap orders with exhaustion box on NQ.
TX short definitely helps the calls. See, as I'm in a trade, a simplicity trade like this, I like to see the order prints, setups happen in my favor, like this TX short go in my direction definitely helps push it. Now we have a cluster that just popped up on the 30 tick, so that I don't like. So it may get stuck here. Let's see. See if we could bust through this cluster here. Or if the sellers want to win this battle.
Double cluster NQ.
There we go. Come on, break it. Struggling a little bit. Ooh, look at that. Let's come back up to test that area. Looks like. That ZOI crash. It's definitely testing it now. So let's see if it just wanted to test it and run down. Or if it wants to test it and break it and go up. Which I hope that's not the case. Yeah, we had a little ODD, but it was choppy. But there was that cluster that popped up on the 30 tick. So I didn't like that. Let's see if it'll come back down. And what it wants to do. Left a green eye block there. So I'm just going to hang around in this trade and see what happens if it comes back down. If it comes back down again to where it was hesitating and continues to hesitate, then I may get out if I can. Or move to break even. Now, if it leaves this magnet here on the 30 tick where it's trying to leave this magnet, that'd be a great sign. Testing that ZOI crash again. Let's see what it wants to do here. Yeah, it was an early entry where I got in. All right, let's see if he wants to break this cluster now or it's pushing hard. So let's see if it breaks it and goes down. This is a second try, so may not be ready, but I'm not quite ready to jump out yet because it is pushing hard. I don't like the TX long there, right off of that bottom against me. Came back down and tested that cluster. Now we're trying to go again. Let's see if we go. Cluster's holding strong there. I might move this to break even here soon. See what it does. Yeah, it's definitely struggling here, so. All right, let's see if this is the break of that newly formed bottom. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to go. It's that one cluster holding me up on the 30 tick. It's tested it now a couple times. At the moment, I'm still hanging in here because we still have this short, although it's sideways and it's, to be honest, not looking great. But if it can break this wall, which has a cluster on it on the 30 tick, then we'd make a nice run. I like this mini magnet. If it leaves this mini magnet on the 30 tick as well, needs to hit 373 to solidify it. Got a double cluster on the 30 tick now.
Double cluster NQ.
Clusters here. I want this mini magnet to stay on the 30 tick. That'd be nice. All right, third try.
Double cluster NQ.
Third try here. Come on. Let's see if you can break it now. There we go. Now, I move to break even because if this comes back up, then I want out. But let's see if it runs. Gives me a good little run here. See if we make it to that ZOI now. If we make it to that ZOI and it breaks the ZOI, then I'll put my stop behind it. The one down here. That way, you know, if it wants to make a settlement run, then that'd be great. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up here to the dotted line and behind this ZOI. Actually, I'm going to go behind this wall. And let's see if we can make it down. See, this mini magnet up here is what I wanted to solidify my, you know, if it stayed, then it told me it's going to shoot down. All right, now I'm going to move behind this ZOI. I like to stay behind OP like that. Yeah, that's a good target. I just think it's going to hesitate at this one single ZOI here. So if we break it, there we go. I'm going to move my stop behind it. And if it knocks me out, it knocks me out. There we go. I'm out. But that was a nice win there. Now, let's see if we get an LRE real quick. See, it knocked me out to the tick almost. But there we go. Now it's pushing. But like I said, I don't like to trail too tight. I mean, I like to trail tight. So that was nice. I hit my target on the Simplicity account with that one. There we go. Hit your target. Beautiful little run there. Yep. Today was a great day, actually, for Simplicity. And if I would have just waited for the no-brainer LRE or the really good ones, then that would have been a great, you know, that would have been a nice one LRE. But let's see if we get an LRE here. Ooh, shooting up. I would like it off that level, though, with the wall there. Because that was that bottom. It couldn't break a bunch of times until the third hit. So if it comes back up and tests that with an LRE, although this is the bottom again that we've been hitting, so it could be another reversal point. But let's see what happens. Just trying to leave another mini magnet on the 30 tick. Yeah, I would like an LRE if it hits this 377 wall. You can see with it hitting up here, coming back, hitting up here. Then if it does come up to this 377 wall, I will prefer it to have something else with it. Actually, this might turn into an LRE right up here at this top again. No, it'll probably be the wall. Might get some ODD here. Line moved back on me. Just too far away. If it hangs around here for another 20 seconds, we might get one. Nope. But see, that's where I knew that level. See, even though there wasn't an LRE, it still bounced from there. It's just, it wasn't confirmed with an entry on the simplicity chart. So it still bounced from there, and it still would have made profit even without an LRE. That's why spotting areas like that is very important. These are the Apex investing tools. So these are 10 tick diagnostic bars that they're called. And then this one on the bottom left corner is called the simplicity chart. It's basically proprietary to Apex. They programmed and created these charts. They're basically order flow, kind of like footprints, order prints, but they use all the lines and everything you see on here are called order prints, and they're derived from contracts and orders and what's happening in the market. Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, it looks like a lot from the naked eye, but it's actually, there's just a handful of things you have to learn. And yeah, it's actually really easy to use. And that sometimes is the hard part, is that it seems easier than what it is, because other things like emotions and discipline, of course, come into play. But a lot of it too is knowing when not to take a trade. Yeah, and if you check out the links in the description too, you can always check out their website. They have 30-day boot camp where you can sign up for free with no credit card needed. Basically see if it's for you, if you like it. The thing that I love the most about this when I started using these charts is the accuracy. Oh my goodness, it is accurate to the tick. In most cases, it's amazing. Yeah, almost dark zone. So dark zone is 5 minutes before the open and 5 minutes after the open, where we do not take a trade. And it's almost there, and it is looking a little messy. So, yeah, probably going to call it a day here. Another double cluster on the 30 ticks. So this might start running back up eventually, but with it being close to the dark zone, it might just start chopping around here a little bit. I actually might like this. Oh, with a crash here, I'm taking that. Let's see if it wants to come back down for me. There's a lot going on, but I like this crash. Might not work. I liked that crash, but it might not hold up. Let's see. You can go ahead and probably move to break even here in a second. We are really close to the dark zone, a lot of clusters. Moving to break even just in case. Yeah, knocked me out of break even. It'll probably run down now, but I liked that crash. Yeah, there it goes. All right. Yeah, overall, it was still a great day. LRE didn't, so I had a loser and a break even, and I missed a great one. But LRE is called a low risk entry, and basically, oh, look, I got a really bad fill on that one. No wonder. Let me see. Look at my fill. I got filled here. I was trying to get up here. That's a bad fill. So basically LRE is, so this chart is the simplicity chart, and we look for trends. We look for it to trend down or up. And then an LRE is a pullback of that trend. So we look for a pullback, and then you enter in and you have a pretty tight stop. So I only have a 15 tick stop. And that's all it is, just a pullback of the trend basically. But yeah, I normally, so on my break even, my thoughts, that one was hesitating, and then I break even because I'd rather break even and, you know, just wait for another one, versus if it looks ugly or hesitates or gets close to my profit target and goes all the way back for a loser, then to me that's worse. So that's why, yeah, sometimes it sucks to get knocked out at break even, but that's all right because it's better than a loss. All right, well, that's going to be my trading session. I'm going to wrap up here. Market's about to open, so everybody have a great day and trade well, and I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Take care.